What is going on? I guess now it's Brian and Brad. Actually, I'm gonna make Brad. I was gonna say Brad first. I'm gonna be first for once. It's Brian and Brad talk sports, and we're gonna give Sam the plus Sam on there. But as always, we're sponsored by Sleeper Picks, and we're missing the two or the three heavyweights we have on the show. But I'm not even mad about it because I haven't done a show with Brad in a while, and I haven't talked or seen Sam since that random time I saw you in New York, and then I just kind of disconnected all forms of outlets like from Discord, email, text, letters, you name it, just kind of blocked all communication. But how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for college football bowl games. Currently watching a bet lose in Western Kentucky. I did take Old Dominion, but I took Western Kentucky team total under as well. But you know, those are the breaks when you bet on
Yeah,
college
what's
bowl
going on with
games.
that game? I saw the over under was like kind of really low, and last time I checked, I think there was like 143 points in that game.
Yeah, Western Kentucky. It looks like they benched. I don't know who they benched. I can't tell, but someone got benched, and now they're playing a little bit better. I'm probably gonna lose on this game anyway because I took Corley, but I was trying to explain that like when you take a guy who is pretty much off to the NFL, like and he's still playing in this game, you can't take like his regular line of 70 and a half. I took his alt line because it was either gonna be boom or bust, and he had 26 catches in the first quarter, and then I don't think he's even played since then. So probably was smarter to take the under, but you know me, I plus two. It was plus 250. Like I'm not gonna be pissed about losing a plus 250.
Yeah, I get that. And do you have any random foreign sports that you had today, Sam? How'd that go for you?
Oh, if by random foreign sports you mean soccer, the most popular global sport in the world? Yeah, yeah. No, I had a good afternoon. Um, I was Ryan called me soft for this, which is totally fair. But I had a money line builder between two teams, and the team that was supposed to win, like by a lot, it was Atalanta. They were playing the worst team in the
Yeah.
Italian top division. They went down 1-0 inside the first 10 minutes, and I was
And for people
automatic.
watching the stream, 1-0 is 1-0 or 1-0. If you're not familiar with that,
Thanks. But they went down 1-0, and I was just like, I can't be bothered to deal with this because yesterday was one of my worst days ever. It was incredible. The amount of like everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and I was just like, I'm keeping it low volume, nice and short and simple. Pick two home favorites just to win, and we'll call it there, and that'll be a good afternoon. And they went down 1-0, and I was just like, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me today. One
Especially
nil at
being
half.
1-0 at halftime. Like they didn't score in the first half.
I
I
know.
had them minus 1.5, and it wasn't my pick, so I didn't give it out. I tailed, but it was funny. Like that game, I did take a little Salentania plus 2.5 late. I ended up losing that, but it was just a juice reducer on Texas money line.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
So
I
I
always give
cashed out.
Sam. I
I
think it's
cashed
funny.
out early as soon as they took the lead. They went up 2-1, and there was half an hour left, and the other team was winning like 2 or 3. And at that point, so I was like, they're fine. I can't be bothered to worry about Atlanta for the next half an hour while I prep for this show. So I'm gonna cash out. It was a 1.5 unit play. I took a unit of profit. They ended up winning 4-1, so I look stupid. But I was just like, do you know what? I'm fine with 1 unit profit. That's fine by me. That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's crazy prep for the show. I've been doing the show for over a year. I don't think I've once prepped for it at all, and we do fine around here. So I just want to point out that think it's funny. I always make fun of Sam for soccer or football, but I played rugby for like 8 years. Like someone in the chat, I mentioned that too. It's like that's even worse. Like I have more obscure ties to different sports, but someone in the YouTube chat mentioned about Paul George today. I'm guessing that's what PG means. I
Yeah.
like Paul George today, but I think before we get to NFL, I mean, before we get to NBA, we have to cover the NFL because Tony Stamp has the ticker and he gets really, really pissed off. We don't follow it. If we jump around, it confuses people. It also makes people think we already talked about NFL. It's all over the place. We don't follow. If there's not some structure here, we got nothing. So we're going to talk about the NFL game first. Do you know how many plays do you have in this game? Sam, do you have how many plays did you send? Did you not send anything in?
I have one play for this game, but I don't even know if anyone can tail it now, which is really annoying.
What
That's
is
fair.
it?
Brad, what
Yep.
about you? Do you have like 7, 3, 8?
One. That's after having.
Sweet. This is nice because I like the fact we each have one play, and then we can talk about each thing, and we can kind of break down the game overall, which is nice. I think it's kind of nice to have open forum here.
Yeah, I had 4 yesterday in the prime time game. It's actually really. I went 4-0. You know, it's nice, but it's nice to not have to
Little flex
stress
there.
it. You know, not nice not to stress it. Hey, it was on Twitter. I posted it. I was I just felt really like wishy-washy about this game in terms of player props, but I did have one bet for it.
I like that. Yeah. So tonight is the Eagles and the Seahawks. The spread is up to -4 for the Eagles. I'm guessing that means that I know we all knew that the Seattle would be on a backup quarterback, most likely Drew
Yeah.
Lock. So I guess now that's more confirmed. There is still no real, answer of whether or not Jalen Hurts is playing. I'm not sure if the -4 means they think he will suit up, but from what I've heard from this morning, is that he traveled separately from the team. He feels really like shitty and likely he doesn't play, but I mean we'll see what happens. But it's a -4. The over/under is 45. What I understand, it's going to be pretty windy and rainy out there. I actually feel bad. One of my best friends and college roommate, him and his whole family flew from Philly to Seattle for this game, and now they're just sitting there hoping Jalen Hurts suits up, so it doesn't have to be the Marcus Mariota game. I'm going to go to Sam first. What is your play? You said you're not sure if someone could Taylor or not. Did you destroy the odds with your huge, massive following?
My absolutely massive following. It got pulled relatively soon after I pulled it, and now in hindsight, I think maybe they listed the wrong guy. I took Zach. How do you say his name? Charbonnet.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
He's good, but FanDuel listed his rushing attempts line. I was looking for an under on rushing attempts because I didn't think they were going to run it. Even with a backup quarterback, I was like, you're probably playing from behind. You got to throw it. And they had Charbonnet under 12.5 rushing attempts. And I was like, as far as I'm aware, Kenneth Walker is healthy. Unless they know something that I don't. And
That's
I was just
crazy.
like, I was just like, he's only cleared that when he's playing with Walker in one game when Walker got hurt after like 5 snaps. So I was like, unless this seems like the biggest trap ever, I'm going to take it. I'm going to send it out. And then I'd say about 5 minutes after I sent it out, it got locked and then pulled. And something tells me in hindsight, maybe they meant it to be Walker's line.
And now Walker is at 12.5. So that is
Right,
crazy.
okay.
That is what we call a sharp snag there by Sam.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was a thing. That's crazy to think about.
So honestly, if you didn't snag that at the time, I have to look into I would look into the numbers, but honestly, Walker under rushing attempts, I don't think is bad. I'm not going to take the yards because he can just randomly break off for like 20 and then you're sweating for the rest of the game.
Or he could randomly break something that we've seen him do multiple times. Not that you root for injuries, but he is a guy that it's happened before.
Yeah, like I took a Matson under rushing, and I was just like, he's not going to clear like fifth. The line was like 47, and his first rush was for 20 yards, and I was sweating the entire rest of the game. He stayed under because he can't run, but that I was just like, just take the rushing attempt. So if you didn't get Charbonnet rushing under, then I would just take Kenneth Walker rushing under attempts just because
also
I don't see him running much.
Also, to point out, Walker, I'm seeing some 50.5 yards line that's out there for yards. I don't even hate that. I mean, it's pretty clear that if you're going to beat this Eagles team, it's through the ground. I mean, it's through the air. We saw yesterday the Bills just like, hey, we're going to run the ball 40 times, and it worked. This is a team it's worse against the run as of late, but with Slay out, their secondary is all banged up. Like, they can't stop anything. I can actually get behind a lot of the rushing unders. Someone in here mentioned Rashad Penny.
Rushing unders or rushing overs?
Well, I was saying I wouldn't mind the rushing unders. So did I say overs?
No, you said unders. I was just trying to connect your logic between.
Yeah, I just think that even with the backup quarterback, I mean, I just feel this is a game where I think a lot of things tighten up for that run defense that you would hope they come together. Box. I mean, it's very tough. It kind of goes inside that this is one of those get right spots, I think, for the Eagles. My play is, I don't know what yours is. I want to cut in because I do think it kind of ties in with what you're saying a little bit and how I see the game. I think the Eagles get right here, and I think this is a team that they commit to stopping the run or they commit to running the football. Their offensive defensive line is just so good that I actually took a ladder of DeAndre Swift. I only sent the 57.5 because I totally forgot I laddered it until just now. But it's at 59, 58.5 all books. I like DeAndre Swift. He's gotten only 13 carries the last 2 weeks. but we've seen what this team can do like early on in the season when they decide, hey, we're going to run the ball 20 times. Swift's going to be the main back. We have one of the best offensive lines you can find. And if they commit to that and they don't abandon the run right away, which in this game, it's going to be hard to abandon the run because you're either getting a hobbled, sick Jalen Hurts or you're getting Marcus Mariota, who hasn't played a serious snap in, since Sam was a producer. Like, I mean, it's been it's been forever. So I just think that this is a game where if Swift gets 16, 17, 18, whatever amount of carries you think he could get, if you have this game script or this commitment to the run, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a massive game. I took him up to 100 plus at plus 500. I think it's just going to be really fun. This Seattle team, they can't cover the middle of the field in tight ends, and they can't stop the run. Almost, I think 4.6 and a half is their yards allowed to running backs. I mean, we saw it last week. CMC had that first play. It was like 70-yard run, and it didn't stop there. I just feel like Swift has been forgotten about, and you see all this stuff about, people standing outside the Philly like facilities with garbage cans or signs that say run the ball. Eventually something has to change, and I think this is the matchup to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think my bet actually ties into your thought process of the game. I sent this over to Tone when they announced that they were when the Seahawks announced they were activating their practice squad player. I took Eagles minus 4.5. For me, it's a bet against Drew Lock, and then the philosophy of what the Seahawks want to do. The Seahawks stack the box. I mean, if the Eagles stack the box against the Seahawks, I don't think Drew Lock's going to have success on the passing downs, right? Like, it's just going to make life easier for the Eagles. You're not going to have to worry about any tricks, frills, because to them, you want Drew Lock to beat you. I think the pass rush is going to be able to get home, and Drew Lock has been pretty poor under pressure. I don't mind it. Obviously, minus 3.5 is not much different than minus 4. You can't lose. At worst, you put.
Tough to talk about a fan as this fan, people not taking you seriously. But like I said, if the Eagles decide just to run the football, kind of like you saw with the Bills yesterday, they could do exactly what the Bills did to the Cowboys. Like, if they really wanted to just do that, hold the ball for 35, 40 minutes and just kind of dominate in the trenches. I mean, everyone talks about the tush push and all this other stuff, but there's a reason they're successful in Philly. It's because that offensive line is like really scary when they get going. So if you give a guy like Swift the chance to get going, I think it could be really scary. We kind of talk about, all this Arthur Smith talk about how Bijan Robinson gets a carry or two, and then they pull him out. They don't let him get into a rhythm. If you give an offensive line and the running back of your choice, your number one guy, a rhythm, like you give him 3 or 4 carries the first drive and you don't stop, it could be a really beautiful thing to watch. You saw it yesterday with, James Cook, who basically has been so average all year. And then yesterday he got into a rhythm, and they fucking destroyed on that ground game, dude. It was kind of frustrating watching it as a guy needing Diggs to do something, but as a fan of football, it was very beautiful to watch the Bills just say, hey, we're just going to run the ball every single play, and it worked.
Someone in the comment section just let me know that you can get the Charbonnet under rushing attempts at 10.5 on PointsBet. It's not 12.5, but honestly, I still like it at 10.5. So
yeah, I'm going to tail that, which is crazy. I'm going to tail something from Sam, but
that's crazy.
I do think, to your point, Brad, if they stack the box knowing that Drew Lock, Horsecock is going to be out there in quarterback, I don't see a way where, they're going to keep trying to pound the rock if they have a negative game script, and the Eagles are just like, hey, we're just going to stack our, 7 players here, and you're going to have to beat us over top. It's going to be really tough to try to continue to run the football in that environment.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I did send this to you do have it, right? 10 I sent to this parlay. I don't know if you knew this. DraftKings did a random profit boost. So I did, not profit boost, a deposit bonus type thing. So I have this random free bet on
that's nice
on DraftKings for $50, and I used it. I took DeAndre Swift 60 plus rushing yards, Dallas Goedert over 27.5 receiving yards, and Eagles money line. It was plus 248. I think that's really good odds, honestly, because I kind of mentioned it. The one thing that the Seattle Seahawks can't guard is the middle of the field. So if you or someone in the chat here is also an Eagles fan, and it's very, very tough to say this, it's hard to watch this team. I mean, they throw in the middle of the field the least amount of anybody else out there in the league. They feel like it's absolutely necessary to only throw on the outside of the numbers. I think today that it gets overcorrected. This team cannot guard the middle of the field. They don't have the linebackers to do so. This should really be a Dallas Goedert / DeAndre Swift game, and I'm going to use my free bet on that. So plus 248, and I want to emphasize it's important to go over 59.5 for DeAndre Swift. I wish we had our old show, Brad, because this is where I get into my bag of rants. If you use the same parlay and you don't use the over 59.5 for Swift, and you use the 60+ option, which is in a different category, it goes down to plus 208. I don't get that. Like, you shouldn't have to double check the odds with a book because of the wording of something. Like 60+ lowers it by like 20% if you don't use the over 59.5. Like, I don't like DraftKings. You gotta fix that. That's ridiculously heavy.
It's because they do it by buckets. So they do it by exposure buckets. So like the milestones are priced as the same price as the spread as the player props, and then as leverage goes up and down, then the odds change for each are different. The milestones will never change in terms of it won't be like over 61, but the player prop will go up. Like it'll go to 61.5, 62.5.
Yep.
It's really awful. It drives me nuts. And like you said, like you shouldn't have to go check. Most recreational bettors aren't checking. They're literally just chilling, and that's it.
Especially when it's the same exact play, but with different odds. It's like you shouldn't have to feel like, oh wow, I got screwed because I didn't happen to check the 3 other outlets of this one book.
Yep.
If it's the same book, like FanDuel does a good enough job where if you hit 20+ and over 19.5, it's gonna be the same odds in the builder like every single time. But DraftKings decides just to like screw around. Oh, Killian Hayes is out. Damn it! I guess the Pistons aren't gonna win tonight. I was really hoping he'd play to break the streak.
You say this about the DraftKings builder, but honestly, the fact that they are so incredibly lazy with setting their odds, even within their own builder, sometimes creates so much more chances for good ways to take advantage of the discrepancy. It happens in soccer all the time where they have a guy lifted like outside of the builder. If you just take it like looking at the straight bet, they'll have a guy listed at like minus 400 for a shot on target. We're talking the most famous sport in the world, soccer here again, by the way, Brian. But they'll have him listed for minus 400, and then in the builder he'll be listed for like minus 150. And all you have to do is find like a parlay piece for like another guy to take like one shot all game, and you already have a builder that's like got such a massive edge against everything else. So yeah, you do have to check, but honestly, it's so worth it because they do mess up. They like very famously messed up with their first quarter props. So like, please, if they want to keep messing up, I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think soccer's the one when you kick it, right? That's a sport. No, this is a little tidbit, and then we'll move on to some NBA. I don't want to say this because like I don't want to say it on Twitter because like people actually can see Twitter, but in this stream we have like all 3 people in here. Brad, I am, to your point too, Sam. I am surprised I'm still able to bet on ESPN Bet. When did they go live? Like less than a month ago, right?
Yeah.
I think my pick like on my like tracking whatever it is, like I'm up like 31 units just by hammering the same game parlay bets. I'm limited on straight bets, but not on the builders. And like you just like throw in like a minus 800 that's correlated with the prop. And Jesus, man.
Yeah, no. Every time I see those odds, I'm so jealous because they don't have it
and I
in
feel
New
bad
York,
for
and I'm just
posting,
like,
but
this is so stupid.
It's usable enough now where I don't feel too bad for posting the lines, but there's times where I'll do my boring, nerdy mathematical stuff in the morning, and I'll have a play at like fair odds minus 150, and then points. I mean, and then ESPN bet is like plus 104, and I'm like, how the fuck is that possible?
Yeah.
So it's very nice.
I feel that. Also, before we move on, I do want to echo that when you were reading out your little Eagles parlay, I realized it was basically borderline identical to how I used my Tyrese Maxey free square on chalkboard this morning. I used the Maxey free over to get him to get a single point. So as long as he doesn't get snipes, like I'd tip off, cash that, and then Swift over the 57.5 rushing yards and Goddard over 3.5 receptions rather than the alt, because I don't think they have alt lines. And if they do, I haven't looked. But he should be able to catch the ball 4 times because I know every time you take his over on yards, he'll make like 5 catches for like 20 yards, and I'm just like, I'm gonna not let that happen this time. Catch the ball 4 times, and we'll call it a day. And that paid that's plus 375. So I was just like, yeah, I'll take that any day.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I am on Swift tonight, but depending on the injury news, I know I bet on Dallas Goedert often. I do think this is like a legitimately great spot for him. So if I do get positive injury news, I might end up having some kind of a play on him. But it's such a good spot for both these players. But we will move on to the NBA slate. I know Sam doesn't really understand American sports too much. He did say he had to, maybe that's why he was prepping. He did text me earlier that he has to prep for the show because he's got to brush up on his NBA. Apparently,
yeah, I studied the rules.
Shaquille O'Neal's out of the league. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on.
Damn.
But I don't know if you have any plays in this, Sam. But I have one, and my only thing is I have like 4 spots I like. But I don't know if you saw this earlier today. There was about 732 people listed as questionable game time decision, legally not allowed to enter a country, or just probable or all the other bullshit you see. It is one of the worst slates of the year in terms of injury news, and I'm waiting until I get more info. So I don't know if you have any plays in this, Brad. Do you have any?
In the Charlotte game, let's see. I don't think I do.
I just mean overall. Do you have any plays?
Oh, I have a ton of plays in the NBA.
Oh, I fucking knew you would.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with my first one: Houston Rockets at Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm going with Dean Wade over 1.5 made 3.
That's Dean Wade, by the way, Sam. Dwayne Wade has been retired for years. Just making sure we're on the same page.
Got it. Is this his son? Is that how long I'm out?
Yeah, sure. We're gonna go with that.
Got it. He must be sick then. Let's go.
Yeah, it's his son.
Right.
Nah, I took him over 1.5 made 3-pointers. His volume's nuts, taking about 6 3-pointers, 5 or 6 3-pointers per game. Just a good spot for that number. That's my first one.
I like that. Sam, do you have any plays? I don't want to be rude, but not ask.
I do actually.
Lay it on me, Sam.
One's a builder, but I'll save that one because it's kind of it's it's a builder. But I have a straight bet in the NBA, and I'm actually quite proud of it.
Okay.
Ready for this? I don't bet the NBA that much, but when I do, everyone makes fun of me because I basically only take superstar unders because the lines are too high.
Well, that's what I do, and I get made fun of for it. So
I know, Brian, I hate to admit it, but we do have similar approaches on things like this.
Yeah.
Like,
you took Purdy with me yesterday. That was nice. It was nice.
I did. Yeah. No, I really like that. And then I was also just completely cringing when he threw it 6 times in the last minute of that half. And then
I just want to point this out. My last 3 NFL under quarterback passing attempts have all won, but each one had at least a spike in the first half 2-minute drill. And there's nothing worse than not needing attempts, and then you see the complete pass and they don't get out of bounds. You're like, fuck, they're gonna spike this. Like,
yeah. But no, so I took Luka under 56.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The line was just on points bet, and the line was just, it felt way too high. Firstly, that's a high number just like in general. Like there's like a finite number of guys that can hit that reasonably in any game. And it's 2 of them are playing in the same game today, Jokic and Luka, and then Giannis, if he feels like passing, or he's going to score, or he scores like 40, and then I don't know anyone really. Who else could really come reasonably close to that line? Maybe Fox. Maybe Fox if he passes a ton.
That's fair.
Or Halliburton. But he's also not grabbing like a ton of boards. It's because he's going to get like 20 assists. You know what I mean?
Luka's sick too, so maybe the sickness helps.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, so one, he's sick. I snagged this line earlier. I snagged this line in the morning. It was 56.5 on points bet and 55.5 everywhere else. So I was like, they're already above where it really should be. He's playing
TV betting there from Sam. FYI, just letting you guys know, he wants you to know how sharp he is.
Oh yeah, no, totally, yeah. I've recently got an odds jam account, and it's just been glorious staring at numbers all day. But he's only cleared this twice in 16 games against the Nuggets. It's at Denver today, which is already harder than just playing them like you would at home. And no point guard has cleared that line against the Nuggets this season. The last time Luka did it, he's done it twice. The last time he did it was 2021. He's not feeling well, apparently, but also that could be just a total lie.
He has a
because-
child. He has a new child. That's why he's not feeling well. He's not sleeping.
Yeah, that'll do it. Brad, you can
what do you
relate
know
to this,
about
right?
that?
Yeah, I
I
was
can
like,
relate.
but the line felt high. I'd still take it at 55.5. I haven't seen where it was now because I think it's gone down, but really anywhere 55.5, even 54.5. Once it gets like the low 50s, because he got 52 against them earlier in the season. Once it gets down there, it's going to be very dicey, but 56.5 just felt way too high, and I just really don't see this being the kind of game where he's going to need to rack up that many stats, even though he's cleared a bunch recently.
Yeah, and I'll say this: if anything, someone Toby's in the chat. Is that Sam? It looks like doesn't look like Ryan at all. Yeah, that's good for Ryan's ego. If you said, "Is that Ryan?" and it was fucking Sam, Ryan might never come back.
Hilarious.
He'd have to hide in a hole for a while. Someone in the chat asked if 54 is okay. You did answer that question. My thing is, I checked on DraftKings. 35.5 points is still out there. I wouldn't even hate going points if you think he's going to be sick because of the idea of maybe he'll pass out more. I like the 56.5. If you can't get that line, maybe that's a good pivot. If you think he might exist long enough to still get some RA, but not maybe shoot as much as usual. Because I didn't realize 35.5 is still out there.
That's high. That's so high.
If you're aware, Sam, quick tidbit about myself. My Twitter following actually started growing when I first started just fading Luka Doncic every single night. When they got the new basketball, and it's the reason I lost my DraftKings account. So it's one of those highlights of my life where that was like that was a movie going 19. I was 19-3, just fading Luka Doncic for the first 22 games. Lost my account and bought a boat basically. Like it was like printing money for so long because it was when he came into the season really out of shape. But no hate towards Luka, but that is a really high line, so I like that. Yeah. To combat what I just said about how I like to fade stars, I am backing a star today, and we talked about ESPN bet. I took an ESPN bet same game parlay for two reasons. A, it's a great line, and Hurts is ruled in. That's awesome. Thank you for that. That is
nice.
I like to have the chat because sometimes on this show it's at a prime spot where you miss a lot of injury updates, so it's hard to keep track of everything and also talk on the stream. So that's really nice to know. But I did take Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. I took him 30 points, parlay with 4 assists for him as well. This is kind of crazy because in a way it's not correlated because if he's scoring, he's not assisting. If he's assisting, he's not scoring. But this should be around probably minus 155. FanDuel had it minus 145. DraftKings is a little bit better, minus 125. Don't hit it there either. But it's like minus 105 on ESPN bet. And that's just a crazy price for a guy that has the ball in his hands literally every single possession. There's few teams in this league where you just kind of succumb to one player to run your whole offense. The Thunder are kind of there. So we were just talking about the Rockets game with Brad and I had it up. But the Thunder are in that boat. He makes 48 passes a game. He's averaging 13 potential assists a game. He's also taking 21 shots a game. He quite literally has the ball every fucking possession. It's crazy to watch. And I don't know if you saw his awesome Instagram post. I don't usually take stock in that, but you can't call out bettors or call out, the over-under, or whatever he was when he made that sweet post about him in his car. It was really nice, but that gives you extra motivation for the fact that he should come out firing tonight. I mean, he obviously has a chip on his shoulder. He's a guy that can score 37 of his last 10 games. He puts up points at a crazy level. He's almost annoying to watch if you have anybody else on the team that you need to score. But when you have him to score, he is so good. He's shooting at 55% this year. He's coming off a game. He shot under his season average. The Memphis Grizzlies are not good, but I don't worry about blowout because SGA has the same rotation as guys like Joel Embiid, where they play the entire first quarter and the entire third quarter. So even if they're up 45 points at half, he's going to get a 12-minute run in the third quarter. And if they're blowing him out, it's because SGA is having a monster night. And lastly, I'm just going to say this. The Grizzlies are a team I like to target for guys like SGA. They are really good in paint protection. They really don't allow a lot of points in the paint, but they get killed by those little pull-up jump shots and floaters. And that is SGA's entire game. So give me 30 points off that. And then once in a while, I'm sure Bismack Biyombo or Jaren Jackson will pull up a little bit to try to double him, and he'll find some easy assists. He has 4 assists in every single game. Just a crazy price for a guy like this with this much usage rate.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Yeah. I have another play. Pistons at Atlanta. Bojan Bogdanovic, over 20 and a half points. He's killed Atlanta already. Number one. I know that's what I hate using that analysis. Killian Hayes announced out also helps. That's what 8.5 points per game added to available points. And then let me pull up my notes here. I had something else I wanted to say about this. Oh yeah, they're surrendering a ton of points to the power forward position, fourth most. I want to play this. It's called the Bogdanovich goes ape shit parlay. I didn't end up playing it, but I just want to tell you guys if you want to take it, how to play it. It's 25 plus points plus four plus 3 pointers. I think it's something that you should consider. I didn't play it myself, so I didn't sit over a graphic, but I just think he has a chance to go absolutely berserk on this team. They allow a ton of threes to his position as well, and it's gonna be a high pace, high scoring game.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's nice because I also think the best part of this NBA season is trying to find the value because when you are playing overs, I think everything is just so ultra inflated now
Yeah,
that you have to find the spots that are less of that. Like in your case, it's a guy that who's going to be lining up to bet, Bogdanovich on a random Monday night. Not many people. In my case, it's finding a guy like SGA that has a 12-point spread or 11-point spread, so his line's a little lower than it should be. Sam's case, he's just taking the longest fucking, line of the slate and fading it. So I agree with everything we've talked about so far. Now let's get to Sam's boring ass builder. He really didn't hype up.
go ahead, Sam.
I was
Oh
so excited
yeah.
for it.
No,
But
and now after listen to Brad hype this up, I'm now worried. And I just checked just now, and the price has shifted a little bit away from me, so that's fun. But I parlayed Embiid to score 30 points because really I don't remember the last time he didn't.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
It's
We'll get to that in a second.
ridiculous at this
I was gonna
point.
take 35 at
Yeah,
plus 100.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy
Even
that he
money,
gets
excuse
lines
me.
like that, and he's just like, well, just like he should hit 30. And then, so here's what I'm worried. I took Trae Young, top point scorer in Pistons Hawks, and it was
Oh,
my.
he can drop 34 and boom.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
Yeah,
He's
he
put
can.
up like 35, like back to back to back games, and he should obliterate the Pistons, is what I'm thinking. But if he puts up like I'll be annoyed at myself if I've played this the wrong way because I like using top point scorer as a way to get a builder without needing them to like absolutely go off. I'm like, okay, if he gets like 26 or 27, no one else's like points line is anywhere near his, so hopefully they don't come near. But if he scores like 30, but Bob just drains like 8 threes and just obliterates him and blows him out the water now because Brad said he's about to go off, I'll be so upset with myself because that is based on how my weekend has gone. That's
Is that a 7
exactly
o'clock
how this
game?
bet would lose.
Bogdanovich doesn't have enough game to go to 30. I think his roof is like 28.
Good. It better be 28 because I'll look so stupid if that loses that way. But yeah, that's how I played it. It's plus 103. It's
It's
now
even better that this is a 7:40 game. So before Monday Night Football, I'm gonna make sure to lock in on this game to see the first quarter, to see who's winning in the ultimate battle of Sam versus Brad of random.
Watch
go up.
Bogdanovich go for 30 and then Trae Young has 32.
Yeah,
Perfect. That works
That'd be
just
hilarious.
fine for me.
that's fair. Yeah, I do think it's kind of funny to bring up your point. I'm kind of mad I didn't just bet in beats over for the last like month. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever done that, Brad? Where you see a trend for so long, and you're like, holy shit, has he gone over like every like? You don't want to say a free square, but it's like, dude, I wish I just bet it. And the reason I didn't is I was like, oh, because 34 and a half, come on, that's so high. And then he'll score 42 in like 3 quarters. And you're like, oh shit, yeah, I guess it makes sense. Like, that's so funny to me.
He is
That he's
absolutely insane.
yeah, and he gets so much hate for it, and that's a whole other thing. But the guy's good at basketball. I don't think it's bold to say he's good at basketball.
I thought about
35 and a
that.
half is minus money. That's funny.
I was looking at because I look at his I was looking at like first quarter points props, and his line is always like 11 or 12 and a half. And at first I was like I hadn't been paying much attention, and like I knew he'd been doing well, but I hadn't been paying too much attention. And I was like, that feels wrong. That feels way too high. like that. You must want to take the under here. Then I went and looked into it, and he's just done it like 5 or 10 games in a row. I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, carry on.
Yeah.
I won't like it's so high that I don't want to take the over because that's just like it's like taking a guy for like over 9.5 strikeouts. Like that's just high.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly high. But I also don't want to take the under either unless I'm really feeling like I want some pain.
In the Twitch chat, Adola Burst. I hope I said that right, or a dollar burst. I'm guessing it's a dollar burst, but hopefully I don't get it wrong. The guy's all guy or girl is awesome tonight in the chat. They said I wish I did that with the Pistons 20-game losing streak. That's gonna if I get time this week, that might be like my nerd research stat like ciphering thing of the week. Is I want to see what the odds would have been if you just took Embiid 30 plus and like the money line of whatever team the Pistons are playing every game this season. You'd probably be up a lot. Even if it was like minus 150 odds each night, like if once it got to a bad point, you still might be up like good ass units by just doing that every single day. Just 30 plus Pistons to lose.
Are units better than normal units? Do they carry more weight?
No, it's they carry more weight because it pisses you off when you try to cap sports for so long, and it's like holy shit, I could just bet this every night and been up way more. So that's why I get to you. Brad, do you have any more plays before we move on to our last segment?
Yeah, I do.
Go for it.
I have another one. Azure Thompson, 8+ rebounds, minus 120. It's the same game, Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks game. He's averaging about 7.5, but he's in another good situation where there's gonna be a ton of scoring, a ton of shots, a ton of pace. And then Atlanta is also pretty bad at allowing rebounds. They're not very tough. Remember the times when Clint Capella was like, you never got a rebound around him, and now he's just like, oh, you want an offensive rebound? Here you go. But
yeah.
I like that.
Don't get me started on that because I hate Clint Capella because I used to hate the idea that NBA quote unquote fans would say he's so elite at defense because his rebounds numbers, and I'd be like, watch the games. He doesn't contest anything. He just runs to the boards.
He's just bad.
I like that. So, Brett, do you have more plays? You said you had a bunch. If you that's it.
That's it. That's all of them.
Oh, sweet. Before we move on, I do want to say this. We do have a segment here, and I wasn't trying to handle this, and I decided as you guys were all talking, I did make a joke earlier in the chat that Brad is going to be Ryan and Sam will be Nick. So, Tone, I want to do the first touchdown scorer, and I'm just going to count them as Ryan and Nick because if they win, it's even funnier that there's an asterisk next to their trophy. Is that okay with you? Yeah, it's good with Tone. All right, so what we're going to do is every week for like the last 4 weeks, we've tried to go first touchdown, and Brad, you're familiar with this with our show. It's like the worst market to try to bet of all 100%. Time. 100%. The only winner we have was Tone Stamp, like once when he picked the lowest odds guy.
Shout out ETN.
Nice.
And that was like 3 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, you're right. So we're gonna continue this. So he's in the lead. He's the only one that's hit one. So today you guys get to be Ryan and Nick, and hopefully help them out because they are.
All right, who am I, Ryan or Nick?
Well, you're Ryan.
Okay.
And yeah. So I'm gonna give it to Sam first. So we're gonna do the order, because Tone Stamp's in last until someone hits one. He gets the last pick every single day. So we're gonna go Sam, Brad, me, Tone, first touchdown scores. I'm going to bring up the odds real quick. I know you probably have your odds jammed out because I know Sam is now a big nerd on EV betting.
Massive nerd.
So I want to read off like a few of the odds for everyone that's watching so you can kind of think about who you think would score. And these odds are terrible. Wow. All right, we're going to go with first person is Jalen Hurts plus 525, AJ Brown plus 825, DeAndre Swift 9-1 or plus 900, Devonta Smith 10-1, Kenneth Walker 10-1, DK Metcalf 12-1, Charbonnet is 16-1, Dallas Goedert 18-1, Lockett 18-1, and then GSN is 20-1. There's obviously longer shots you can take. There's no rules of your minimum requirement. It's just sometimes we go long shots, sometimes we go safer. So far, it's been a lot of not working. So, Sam, it's kicked off to you. Who scores the first touchdown on Monday Night Football?
I will tell you right now, I don't even have to think about this because I know I'm going to be right. It is going to be Devonta Smith at +1.
Wait, I was going to pick that. Nice.
Bang! I'm in first.
Damn.
Sucks to suck. That's what you get for letting me go first. Now
I'm
it's
sorry.
mine.
I damn it. I feel bad for Brad, who get guy.
What do you mean? That's Brian. That's clearly Brian right there.
Yeah, it's Brian.
Okay, sure. So you get screwed there, Brad. I'm going to call you Brad because that's how I know you, and it's actually your fucking name. So Sam/Nick gets Smith tonight. Brad, you have to call an audible here.
Jeez.
And it can't be the guy I'm going to pick because I'd be upset. So
I'm gonna go with AJ Brown.
Oh, okay.
May as well play roulette on the wide receivers, baby.
Yeah.
This is tough because logic would tell you to go Jalen Hurts short shot.
Yeah.
Anytime you get within 2 yards, it's going to be Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But I went with Hurts earlier this year and I got screwed on it. Give me Dallas Goddard.
I knew it. I swear, I don't think you can make it through an Eagles game without placing some money on him. I don't think you can do it.
18-1. Can I finish real quick? 18-1.
Please.
Big reason is not trying to be biased to my Dallas Goddard fandom, but the Seahawks really do struggle against tight ends. So maybe Hurts is feeling a little sick. Give me a screen route, a little screen, 11 yard screen pass. Dallas Goddard touchdown, first drive of the game.
If it is, can I? I hope it's 11 yards because that would be so cool if we can just clip that.
Watch it be 11-yard touchdown, holding, meaningless holding, doesn't even change the play. Brian to jump out the window onto the hard concrete, but would be minus 6,000.
Before I give my pick,
I can see it. I can see it happening already.
Before I give my pick, Brian, we need to talk about last week's pick where I went like out of pocket and said the Packers defense was scoring the first touchdown. I was kind of close in that it happened in the other game, and Tennessee's defense had the first touchdown. Oh man, that one kind of hurt.
You got hooked. You got hooked on it, right?
I did.
Where's
you
the
get
hook
hooked
emoji?
on a first touchdown, bro? I feel like that's one of the markets you can't get hooked on.
Check out gambling Twitter, Sam. It's all hooks now. You don't use the red X anymore. It's the black X, green X, or the hook emoji.
Yeah, I got hooked. Yeah.
I mean, so
I got hooked on Taysom Hill rushing yards. He had 1. I needed 25.
Look,
Damn.
I'm in the lead here. If you're not gonna take him, I gotta take him. So
safe. Oh, it's
I'm
definitely
playing
gonna
it
be
safe.
Seattle defense.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, shout out to Derek Curry in the chat for saying that. I gotta go with Jalen Hurts. That ball goes to the 1. That's an easy cash.
That's why
I will say
Swift.
it's not a bad pick, especially in this category where I don't really bet these. I just like to have the friendly competition. Knowing that any sort of pass interference penalty stopped at the 1, stopped at the 2, gets you almost like a guaranteed cash is a little nice. That's the only reason I would have against like a guy like Swift, because usually at the 2-yard line it's like, holy shit, maybe insert running back and score. But if you're the Eagles, there's no reason to. I mean, you have the best play in football. Like they're gonna run it 3 times. So
yeah.
Brian, can I ask what's Kenneth Gainwell?
Oh, Kenneth Gainwell.
Is he like 40-1?
I have him on FanDuel right now at 26-1.
So his best
Oh,
odds.
it's Boston
so
Scott who's
tempting.
40-1.
Gainwell best odds is 30-1.
That's so tempting.
Yeah. Well, you locked in Devonta Smith, so
I did.
Each
I'm just thinking about what I might stick $5 on the side for.
that's fair.
That would be the kind of chicanery we would expect for a Monday Night Football game.
If you did that, I'm just gonna let you know. If you did that, it'd be a Gainwell screen pass. He'll take it 58 yards, fumble at the 1. Seattle defense to score the first touchdown. That's just how it's gonna operate there.
Okay, good to know.
Before we head out, we do have this thing called the Gang Builds a Parlay. We always kind of combine our picks a little bit, and we free form. It only takes a few minutes to build a parlay to throw like $10 on for the night. We are 1-1, I think, right? I think it's 1-1. And they're usually we aim for like 10-1. I usually try to do some groundwork as you guys are all talking. So, is there any objections on the Eagles game now that Hurts is in? It's hard to have your play in, Sam. So we're just gonna scrap you completely out of this game. We'll go NBA for you. Do you have any objection for the legs in this, just to be Swift 50 yards and the Eagles to win?
Sounds
Like
good to
that's,
me.
and then we'll move to NBA, right? Is that fair? Like that gives you like almost even money. go to the NBA slate. Sam, you did say Embiid, and so my question was with you, Sam, is Embiid is questionable. Do you think it's worth putting him in there, and then most likely he'll play, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Or you take the alt line on Luka PRA under.
We could do that. Do you think the Discord will come at you with pitchforks if we take a Luka under in this?
They might. The under is now minus 210 on FanDuel, but I'm finding using that as a parlay piece. And you know what? If I'm wrong, then they can yell at
You're
me
right.
anyway.
You're right. If you are wrong, it's funny to me. So let's do that.
Yeah. Stick it in there.
That's inappropriate. Brad, what picks are you most confident with? Because you gave up 3 or 4. So is there anything you like more than the other?
Bogdanovich is probably my favorite. Points, and then Eagles. I like Azure as well a lot.
Let me see. So over 21.5, right? I kind of like just putting that in there straight.
Yep.
And then I think we should try to stick to 5 legs. So is there any objections to SGA 30 plus?
Beautiful.
Nope.
I think that should work out, right? That should get you close to 10-1, I think. Oh, it's 8-1. Is that do we want to add something else, or do we want to like?
I wouldn't push it.
Yeah, 8-1's good.
I think 8-1's fine, right?
Yeah.
You got to read me all the lines again so I can get them up on the
I just
screen
did
here.
Swift 50 plus.
Yep.
Eagles money line.
Uh-huh.
And then Luka under 56.5 points, rebounds, assists. Bogdanovich over 21.5 points, and then SGA 30 plus points. So it's plus 817. I think 4 or 5 legs is the max I like to do. So I do think that's fun.
Beautiful.
All right.
Works for me.
And then if you guys don't mind, usually I put it in my channel shortly after the show, and I tag both of your channels. Do you not want me to do that, Brad, or do you want me to just tag you in it?
You can tag my channel.
All right,
Do
cool.
it. Go ahead.
I mean, I always put it in there as like, do you want to join the squad ride on the show? But I usually put $10 on it, see what happens.
That's
I
right.
think last week, what was it
All
last
4
week?
of my followers will love it.
Sam, last week was what? We lost by 1 leg. Oh, we lost by 7 yards, right?
That's what it was. Yeah.
Was it Jordan Love?
Yes, it was Jordan Love.
Yeah, last week we went.
That's brutal.
We went 4 for 5, and I thought we were gonna hit back-to-back 10-1s, and then he had 218. We needed 225. So we've been pretty close. It's been pretty fun, but yeah, that was a tough one to take. So lastly, before we move on to the recap, actually it's plus 843 now. So we're actually cooking with. So anyone that's tailing, it's going to be Swift 50 yards, Eagles money line, Luka Doncic under 56.5 PRA, Bogdanovich over 21.5 points, SGA 30 plus points on FanDuel. And then lastly, we usually recap our plays. I'm going to go Brad, Sam, me. Brad, you just want to recap everything you talked about and we head out?
Yeah, I took Eagles minus 3.5. I took Ashura Thompson over 7.5 rebounds. I took Houston Rockets. Took Dean Wade of the Cleveland Cavaliers over 1.5 made 3-pointers. Bogdanovich of the Detroit Pistons over 20.5 points.
Love it. Sam, do you want to recap your plays?
Absolutely. Luka Doncic under 56.5 points, rebounds, assists. Charbonnet under 12.5 rush attempts. You can grab him at 10.5 now, or look at Walker if you want. And Embiid 30 points plus Trae Young top scorer.
Love it. And then for me, I only had 2 plays locked in so far with injury news. I had DeAndre Swift over 57.5 rushing yards. It's totally okay at any number you can find. They're all under 60. And then I took SGA 30 plus points, parlay with 4 plus assists, minus 105 on ESPN bet. Honestly, for this being quote unquote, as I said, the most thrown together stream of all time, this was really fun. I think we did really well. We were efficient with it. As always, I appreciate Tone Sam for producing. I appreciate Sam and Brad hopping in and carrying like big time on the show. It was really nice to have you guys here. As always, we appreciate Sleeper Picks, and we see you guys every Monday at 5 p.m. So we'll see you next week, and good luck on your bets tonight.
Hold on, I'm gonna wait. Next week is Christmas, so I do not. I'll see you guys next week.
Well, damn it! Oh yeah, right. You're right. I keep forgetting.
Your Christmas present will be not seeing Brian's face for an extra week.
I am so sorry. Thanks for cutting in.
I pray to the Lord.
That's a crazy thing to happen. That it is Christmas next week. Sam, for you that doesn't understand what Christmas is, It's like this big thing that we do here, and like there's a big fat guy that breaks into your house, and
They call him
leaves
Father
you-
Christmas.
What?
They call him Father Christmas.
Really? Father
Yeah,
Christmas?
yeah.
I don't like that. That sounds inappropriate. But we appreciate everyone here. We will not see you next week. Thank God I didn't have to do this on Christmas Day. And we appreciate everybody. We appreciate Super Picks. And as always, best of luck with your bets tonight.